Hello, thanks for tuning in. My name's Stuart. I'm a classical record collector and I also sell classical records. And what I'm talking about today is, well, what is it that makes somebody a collector, particularly classical records? And obviously, I call myself a classical record collector, and I've always said on my videos that first and foremost, I'm a music fan. That takes priority over everything else, collecting and every other consideration. That's my main interest. That's what I'm really passionate about. I'm far more passionate about music than I'm about collecting. And if vinyl records were no longer available for some reason, then I would make do with CD and I would make do with streaming. And I'd probably be quite happy with it. But as records are around, as vinyl is around and available, that's how I prefer to listen. And I happen to enjoy collecting as well as actually listening to the records as well. Now, I had a big break from collecting because I started in the late 80s. It's quite a long story, and I'm going to do a story on how I went from, vinyl as a child to CD as a young adult, and then I went back to vinyl, and then I more or less stayed with vinyl. I went back to CD for a little while, and I've now come back to vinyl again. That's another story for another time. But let me just talk about what collecting is. And something happened quite recently when I realized that, yeah, I've got a collecting mentality. I am actually a record collector. So what happened was that I've got this record here, which I picked up in a charity shop a few months ago. I paid £1 for it, and it's basically a record of Austrian kind of folk music, yodeling, and all that kind of thing. And the woman in my life, who I've been seeing for 6 months or so, she's Austrian, and so when I saw this in a shop, I just thought I've got to have it. It's got a picture of Innsbruck on the front, and I just thought she would really like that. And I imagined playing this, having her around for dinner and everything. And so yeah, I bought this. It's yeah. So we listened to that. We listened to the whole record, both sides. Both of us did. She knew a lot of the songs, and she was translating them, and it was a really good evening. And then I looked on the back, and I noticed something. I wonder whether you can see it. I don't know. It doesn't really do it justice, but this is actually one of a series. Can you see that? That picture there actually shows the series of all that are actually available. Actually, I'm going to reduce the exposure on this to see if I can get a better. There it is. I'm just reducing the exposure on the camera so you can see what I'm looking at and not get glare on it. So you can see there, sometimes if it's a series, the maker of the record, in this case it's Philips, will include on the back of the record the rest of the series that are available. And as you can see, there are another 8 records available in this series, and there are 9 in total. Now each one of them, let me just increase the shutter speed to get the lighting correct again. Okay, so there are 9 available. This one is Innsbruck. Each one is based on a town. There's one for Salzburg, there's one for Vienna. What else is there? Okay, there's one based on Johann Strauss. There's another one based on Erich Kunz, Steiermark, what does that say? Schrammel, Kurnten, and okay. So there are all these interesting other records in the series, different colors, different pictures, and everything. And when I saw these, I thought, wow, how amazing it would be to have the entire set, to have all of the records that Philips actually made in this set, Austrian folk music. And I thought, well, wait a minute, maybe they're available. Maybe I can find somebody selling the entire series. And I immediately thought, how much would I be prepared to have the entire series? It would be great to have them all. And I thought, well, I thought of an upper price limit of say £50 for the whole lot, all 9 records, 50 quid, £5-6 a record is what I would probably be prepared to pay for the whole lot. it would be great to have the whole lot. If one was missing, it would diminish my satisfaction in having these records, because if there's a series, you want to have them all. That really is the mark of a collector. You find a limited edition like this, a series that were made, and you want to have the whole lot. Now, I tried to find them. All the Philips references are here, like Philips 64, 64, 510. You're not going to believe this. I went onto the internet in Google and I couldn't find any trace of these anywhere. I could not find them anywhere at all. In the search engines, on eBay, nothing whatsoever. There's absolutely no trace of these. So if any of you guys ever see that set, let me know, because I'd be really interested in buying them. But yeah, when I looked at that and I thought I want to have all those, I realized I'm not just a music lover. I'm actually a collector as well. I would love to have all of those. But that doesn't mean to say that I want to have entire series. For example, take ASDs, take the EMI, HMV, ASDs, all the numbers through. There are no doubt collectors out there who want to have all the numbers of the ASDs, all the way from the early white and golds, from ASD. What's the earliest ASD? I think it's ASD. Is it 251? Is it Beecham Scheherazade? I'm not too sure. I think it's from about ASD 251 all the way through to ASD 4000 and whatever. There are no doubt collectors out there who would like to have every last single one in all the earliest issues. I mean, that's almost like Mission Impossible. I'm not one of those people. It's a bit like stamp collecting. There are people out there who will only collect, say, aircraft stamps. That doesn't mean to say that they want to have every single aircraft stamp that's out there. They may want to have a series, for example, British bombers in the Second World War. I don't know whether there is such a set available for Royal Mail, but let's say there are, I don't know, 6 different British bombers, like the Lancaster bomber and some of the other ones. And there may well be somebody out there that wants to have that whole set, not just the one of them. They want to have all the British bombers, or something like that. That is another collector, somebody who wants to have the whole set. So yeah, I would love to have the whole set. I think that makes me a collector. It does make me a collector. So let me just show you some of the other examples. Like, I've got this set. It's Peter Frankel playing all the Debussy piano music on Turnabout. Now on the back it says there's a series of six of these. Let me just turn down the shutter speed again. It's so annoying. There we are. So you can see what it looks like. So there are 6 of these. I don't know what the solution to that is. It's probably because I'm just using a cheap laptop cam. Okay, so it says volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got them all. This is no big deal, frankly, because there are people out there who probably would have just bought the whole set. 6 records. I got this in a collection. I've subsequently seen all 6 records in another collection. It's not unusual to have all 6 of these. That's no real big deal, frankly. This is a set of the Mozart string quintets with the Budapest Quartet playing, and all 3 records. I've got all 3 records. That's just a small set, but obviously it's nice to have all the Mozart string quintets. This one here, this is Walter Klein playing Mozart. Now there are actually 12 of these. There should be 12, the complete Mozart solo piano music, and on Turnabout. Unfortunately, I've only got 7 of them. I used to have 12. I don't know where the others are. I must have misplaced them or lost them or something when I moved. So I'm now looking to get the remainder. That's not going to be an easy task. I may have some more lying around somewhere. I'll have to have a look through all my records and try and find them. So yeah, a collector is going to want to have the whole series. If a collector finds a series that they're interested in, they're going to want to have them all. Yeah, so a collector is not interested in every series that has ever been made. They focus in on what interests them. That Austrian folk music interests me. I've got a personal connection with it because somebody in my life is Austrian, somebody special, and I don't know, I just want to have those. It doesn't look as if I ever will get them unless somebody out there sees them and says, oh yes, I've seen those. Just to give you another example of me as a collector. I was never really a book collector, frankly. No, I was never really a book collector. However, I went to an auction where some records were on sale. I'm going to talk about my experience with record auctions in another video, by the way, because I went to some auctions in the 90s, and I'll talk about that another time. But at one of those auctions where I was bidding on records, I noticed it was absolutely unbelievable. There were boxes, shallow boxes with books, Penguin Classics, as far as the eye could see almost. It was unbelievable. There were over 1,000 titles, Penguin Classics, back in the 90s. And I'm not sure, but it looked to me like, they were all different. And if I've got one regret, it's that I didn't buy that. I did not bid on that because I wasn't a book dealer, but I enjoy classic fiction. I mainly read classics, actually. I don't read, I'm way out of date with my reading. I mainly read older fiction from the 19th and 20th century, maybe coming up to the 1970s. I read Graham Greene and that kind of thing, Somerset Maugham, and then going back into the 1900s, I read Dostoevsky, Tolstoy, Dickens, all that kind of stuff. It's just my own personal preference. I'm not limited to that, but that's mainly what I do read. And I was really interested later on when I thought about those books. It looked to me like, it may well be that every single Penguin Classic was there from right up to, say, the late 1980s or something like that. There were over 1,000 books there, all paperbacks, all different. And if I could have got those for, say, a couple of £100 or even less, it would have been nice to have them. That's another thing where there's an appeal in having everything in a series, and I think that's partly what it's about. There are other considerations in being a collector, like obviously with records, there are certain artists that are more collectible than others. That's another aspect of it. And there are certain performers that I'm interested in that I'm looking out for. So there's a lot to it, but certainly having everything in a series or set is a big appeal, because there's a hole in my life that I haven't got those 9 Austrian folk music records. I like the designs as well, the designs, colorful at the front, and the pictures, the 1960s photography, and it would be really nice to have that set. Yeah, so I think I can confidently say I am a genuine record collector, not just a music lover. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear your stories. Are there sets that you've nearly got all of? You're looking out for that one elusive record to try and make up the set. I'd be interested to know. Yeah, that's about it. So hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back again with another video very soon. Goodbye.